Hi there, it's Nicole for Honeybee Stamps, and today I'm going to be sharing a card featuring one of my favorite techniques, a metallic watercolored background on a darker color of cardstock. This is using the awesome Zen Ocean stamp set, and then a gorgeous mermaid from the Under the Sea stamp set, and fantastic kindness greetings from the Kindness stamp set and coordinating dies. I like to lay out the products I'm going to use first to kind of make sure everything is kind of how I think it's going to look on the finished card. And then I am going to grab this large circle design from the Zen Ocean stamp set. And I'm going to kind of center it in the Misty so that the design is fairly centered in this A2 sized piece of peacock, kind of a nice teal color of cardstock. And I'm going to use a little adhesive to hold that in place so it doesn't pick up or shift at all, since I'm using it in the middle. I kind of have to do this in the middle of the Misty for this one, because if I butt it up against any of the sides, I will lose that perfect centering of the design. Next, I am going to take a powder tool all over the surface of my cardstock. This is an anti-static type tool. I am going to be stamping and embossing this image from the Zen Ocean stamp set, stamping it with Versamark ink and heat embossing with gold embossing powder. This is going to provide a great surface or backdrop to watercolor with some metallic watercolors, or any watercolors if you were going to be doing this on a different color of cardstock. The reason I like to emboss the areas I'm watercoloring probably 95% of the time is those little areas that have been embossed create little wells that hold the ink in place. It's really forgiving, so the chances of the water migrating and moving out from where I want them to is minimized, which works great for me because I'm not the tidiest watercolorer. I'm going to make sure that I get all the areas, and I saw a couple of spots that I felt like needed a little bit more. And then I'm simply going to heat set this design. I really like using a gold or other metallic watercolor or embossing powder for this technique because it really adds to the metallic look and outline. But you could do this in any color you wanted. You could even try doing this with white, black, lots of different embossing colors, embossing powder colors. Once the design is completely embossed, it is really beautiful as is, and you could totally use it just like this if you wanted to. But what I love to do is take a water brush, and this is a pen or brush pen that holds water in the well, and then I like to use these watercolors in metallic gold colors and start watercoloring the design. Instead of a water brush pen, if you want to control maybe the amount of water a little bit more, don't put water in the well of the pen. You can just simply dip it in water and then pick up the color and paint it. Or you could use a traditional paintbrush and some water. It's really up to you. I love the water brush pen. I'm not terribly worried about the colors so much, I guess, if that makes sense. I just want to have a nice assortment of color all over the design. And really, when I got started with this whole design, it can be just a little overwhelming because this is a really detailed, awesome background. There are lots of ways you can color in this fantastic design. But once you get to coloring and you start filling in different areas, you can find out right away that it doesn't take as long as you think it's going to color it all in. And I think it's really fun and the results are always amazing and elegant. That's one thing I was going for with this card. A lot of my mermaid cards have been more bright and fun. And not that this isn't a fun card, but I think the addition of metallics instantly adds to that elegant feel. And that is really what I was going for with all of my color choices and all of the components here today. The mermaid is even going to be colored in colors that complement the teal background and the metallics. My greeting is going to be die cut from a metallic paper. The additional greeting is going to be stamped and embossed with gold embossing powder. So everything complements and coordinates one another. I think when you hold this at an angle, you see the shine, the shimmer, how awesome the metallic is of these paints on a dark cardstock. Tri-navy cardstock, that's one of my very favorites. Dark gray cardstock, black cardstock. This is one of my more brighter cardstocks that I have tried, but this is still a dark cardstock. This isn't a white, this isn't a light color at all. And you can see that you really can see all of those little areas, and it just creates the most amazing background. I can't say enough. This is one of my very favorite techniques. I absolutely love it. Now, I like to make sure I clean my water brush pen before changing colors so I don't cross-contaminate. I just use a paper towel and kind of squeeze it out and clean off that color. I'm going to set the background aside to completely dry and stamp greetings from the Kindness stamp set on some black cardstock using Versamark ink, sprinkling on a little gold embossing powder, and then heat setting this. And again, what's so fantastic about these stamp sets is that you can mix and match to get the greeting that you want for your card. My greeting is going to read, "Kindness like yours has not gone unnoticed." I think that is a phenomenal greeting. This Kindness stamp set is one of my absolute favorites. It's a sentiment stamp that works for so many different things, and it's just beautiful. I stamped and embossed this on black cardstock because I really want it to stand out against the background. I oftentimes stamp and emboss on white or on with white embossing powder on black, but the gold complements the metallic of this background. Next, I have stamped this mermaid from the Under the Sea stamp set on Neenah smooth white cardstock using a black ink for copic coloring, and I'm simply coloring her in with copic markers. My marker color choices definitely reflect the background color of the cardstock that I'm using. I want her to I don't want her to have any wild different colors, not for this card. This is, like I was mentioning, I wanted it to have a more elegant feel. So her mermaid tail is very much that teal color, the BG 45, 49, and 78. Then I want to add some skin color. I'm using E00, 11, and 13 with R20 for the cheeks. And just get a good blend here. I like the addition of a little pink on the cheeks. Gives her that rosy complexion. Then for the rest of her, I struggled a little bit trying to figure out what color to do her top, and I ended up going with some lighter blue-green colors, more aquas, but still in that same color family, so BG 11 and 13. And for her hair, if you followed me at all, you've probably seen me do some wild, kind of bright mermaid colored hair, but I wanted her hair to complement the gold feel of the metallic background. So I'm using some copic markers in shades of yellows and browns. The little ties at the end of her braids have some aquas and then green for the greenery. But the colors for her hair are YR20 as the base color. That's that lightest yellow, which will only mostly be seen as a highlight in her hair. And then My dark colors are E37 and 35 with YR24 as my mid-tone color. And these colors together make a nice complement to the golds. So kind of almost like a golden brown hair color, but I think it complements the colors from the background beautifully. I'm going to take the coordinating under the C die and die cut her. At the same time, I'm going to back a piece of fun foam on the front and back with some Stick It adhesive. Run that through a big shot to really make sure the adhesive is nice and secure. Peel off one side and replace that with some gold cardstock, and then run both the mermaid and the kindness greeting through the big shot. I'm going to attach the mermaid to the card kind of along the right side of the card because she's very long and tall. I'm going to peel out my greeting, and it's kind of delicate because it is a cursive style greeting, so you got to be a little bit careful, but pop out any of those little inside pieces. What I love about doing it this way is it's an instant dimensional word sticker. This is one of my favorite things to do with scripty style word dies, is to turn them into dimensional stickers. That tiny bit of dimension from the fun foam adds so much to a card design. Really fantastic. I just love it. And these dies are fantastic because you can use the kindness or you can change it up to a different word since it's two separate pieces, depending on what additional greeting you're using. So I'm going to kind of lay this out here. What I really need to do first is attach the word phrase, that sentiment phrase, and then I can kind of adhere the dimensional greeting above that, and that's going to give me a little bit better guide rather than trying to finagle the dimensional greeting and get it straight. I'm going to place some nice strong adhesive on that and then tuck my greeting right there, kind of in the bottom third of the card design. I'm using my grid paper background to get that as straight as possible, my work surface. And then I'm going to position the kindness dimensional word right there above that. Make sure and grab the little dot for the eye. And I like to save all these little pieces of fun foam with the cardstock because I can use that for another greeting on another card some other time. To finish the card design, I'm going to take a white opaque pen and add some detail and accents to the mermaid tail, kind of following the same design from the stamp, just drawing that white line above it. Then take a Stardust glitter pen and add some little dot detail right above that white line, and take my white opaque pen again and add some little white dots to her hair and to her mermaid tail fins. Use the Stardust glitter pen to draw a plaid design on her top. All little things that add really nice finishing touches to the design and make those mermaids really pop. This is one of my favorite things. It's so simple. It adds just some awesome finishing touches to these beautiful mermaids. Finally, I will take some glossy accents and kind of where the bubbles are on the background, I am going to fill those in with some glossy accents so those bubbles are a nice glossy white gold metallic. Gives them a nice glossy, slightly raised finish and is super pretty. You could also go in and add some Nuvo crystal drops and some metallic colors if you wanted to, some awesome sequins if you wanted to. I kept this kind of simple and fairly flat so that it'll be super easy to send through the mail. Thanks for joining me today for this Metallic Kindness Mermaid card featuring some of the Under the Sea, Zen Ocean, and other honeybee stamps and dies. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.